director team. She is one of the hardest working people, elite seller. And you know how there's people who just have that fortitude and persistent? And Linda is, you know, has had some hills and valleys in her business, but she has never, ever, ever given up and is doing amazing.
It's stick-to-itiveness.
Stick-to-itness, so let's give a warm welcome.
Or stubborn.
Very stubborn. Okay, so first of all, I think there's a lot of hype now. Linda's going to present that on. Stay tuned. That's going to come on Tuesday. Stay tuned. There's a lot of expectation here, so I'm going to tell you that this is really coming from the heart. So I may like break down halfway through, you know, and all that. But
We have plenty of tissue.
Yeah.
So
$50 worth of tissue.
I know, right? Let's put them to use. So I'm going to tell you what we're going to go over today, and then I'm going to go over it. So I'm going to start with just a little bit about why I feel like that I am worthy. And then I'm going to go into my journey and how it got me to the decisions that I made just barely a month ago. And then I'm going to share with you everything you've been waiting for is this amazing system. Because if I asked you right now, what is the one thing that you feel like is lacking in your business? Systems, right? We can do anything if we have a system. And I feel like that I've been in this business for so long and I've just been treading water. You know, I'm good. In my eyes now, 24 years later, I'm a rock star consultant. And I've been a consistent. And that's why I brought up what I did when we had that conversation with Judy, is, you know, I've earned a trip every year. I have earned excellence every year, even in multiple categories a few times. We even had one trip one year. I don't know if you guys remember this, but you could earn 2 trips in 1 year.
Yes.
And I did.
Yes.
So, you know, when I look back at what I've done, I have never been on stage. I have never been in the consultant newsletter. I have never been asked to come to home office. I have never been on a committee to help with products. And you know, over the years, when you've been successful in your own mind, but you don't get, you kind of question yourself and you go, am I really worthy? And this past year, I've just kind of said, you know what?
Yes,
And I've had to continue to tell myself that, because if we tell ourselves that, well, I guess I'm not good enough to be on the product development, and I guess I'm not good enough to be on the cooking. I know I'm not good enough to be on a virtual party committee, and I'm not good enough to be on a technology committee, and I know what my limitations are, and I'm going to go into that in just a few minutes. But today, I truly feel like that part of my journey on my board that I said was I'm worthy. And I'm worthy of sharing what I have to offer. And I don't know about you, but we're all on Director Success, right?
Yep.
And we all scroll through. How many of you actually share what you produce or what you create on Director Success? Look at that. You know what that tells me? Most of us don't feel like what we're doing is worthy enough to put it out in front of other people. And that was me.
That's sad.
That was me. I didn't feel like what I was doing was good enough to share with all these other amazing directors. Because what was I doing?
Comparing.
I was comparing, and comparison does what?
Joy.
Which is why I feel like so many times that I'm not good enough to share what I'm creating, I feel good about, but I don't feel good about it enough to share. So to realize that when you are creating something and you feel good about it, just put it out there. You know, sometimes some of the people that we notice on Director Success are people who post all the time, right? The squeaky wheel gets the grease, or that was the phrase that we used yesterday about the minority or the
The
majority.
vocal minority.
The vocal minority, right. So, yeah, there's some amazing people on Director Success, not taking anything away from that. And believe me, I use their stuff, and I create it and I make it mine. But those are their ideas I need, because I know what some of my strengths are. And my strength may not necessarily be creating the spreadsheet or creating the visual that's gonna attract, 200 people to go pick a number. I mean, come on! How crazy is that so many of us have used that pick a number picture and used it so successfully in our business, and all it is pick a number, one through, I wasn't creative enough to come up with that, but I borrowed it from someone who was. So something as simple as you do something that's successful or is working for you, please don't be afraid to share it. Please don't be afraid to share
Are
it.
you gonna listen to your advice?
Yes, because that takes me to my next thing that back about a month ago, I attended Robin Schilling's, we'll just leave that there for now. I attended Robin Schilling's workshop for directors, and it was amazing. And the book we had to read was called The Power Focus. And I don't know if you guys remember that book, but we got it many, many years ago. Jack Canfield, we got it. Mine even has the Pampered Chef sticker on it, We got it when he came to speak to us. I had never broken the spine on that book. I am not a reader, and I'm going to tell you that over and over and over and over again today. I hate to read, I hate to read, I hate to read. I'll listen, but I hate to read. But I actually read that book because she forced us to read that book. She guilted me into reading that book. And then The Power Focus, Jack Canfield.
Probably all have.
Yeah. And in the first couple of chapters of that book, Jack says, if you're not good at something in your business, what should you do? Reach out to someone who's doing it right. Right? Reach out to someone who's doing it right. So, that's what I did. And on Director Success, I don't know if you guys you didn't even know me then, but I put a little list out. You remember that?
Yeah.
And I was bold enough. Ooh, that was scary for me, but I said, you guys, I've been reading this book by The Power Focus, and it says to reach out to people who are doing things that you're not always so comfortable with. And I'd really like to bend your ear if you feel like you do something in this category that's really good. And I put myself out there in front of everybody, in front of how many 1,500 directors on there, and I heard from like 3 people. So part of that says to me, people don't feel like they're good at doing something enough to offer it. But the 3 people that offered their assistance to me, I was not afraid to reach out. And some of those things I put on there were silly things like, I'm trying to transfer from a digital calendar to a paper calendar and do both. Or I really could use help in host coaching. I could really use help in systems. I could really use help in whatever it was that I was kind of struggling with. And I put it out there. And I don't know if people were afraid to reach out because they didn't feel like they had anything to offer, or if they just didn't have the time to share. And it could be either or, who knows. But you gotta be willing to ask for help in the things that you're not good at. Because when God made us, He made us with amazing strengths. And I'm gonna go into something that's gonna be a little different and off topic here. But has anybody ever heard of the book Strength Finders? My mastermind group has. Okay, so I'm going to challenge you guys to look this book up. You can do it through a Audible. You can do it through. It's called Strength Finders 2.0.
Because I'll post the right link.
Oh yes. Okay. All right. So The first thing that I want to, before I jump into the strength finders, I want to tell you guys, I'm a nurse. I used to be a nurse. Once a nurse, always a nurse, right? I am no psychologist at all. No psychologist. I told you about the feeling unworthy. What you don't know is I really had to teach myself everything I know about dealing with people. And it's taken 20 years for me to really understand how to deal with my consultants, how to deal with my husband, how to deal with my kids. And some of this stuff I have found through Strength Finders because I know what I'm good at. And when you know what you're good at, you're willing to kind of share. But when you got to take some of those things that you're not so good at, and the rule of thumb that we've always been taught our entire life is you try to work on the things that you're not good at, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not so good at, doing technology, so I'm going to working on it to get it better.
And you ignore the things that you are good at.
Exactly, and they get hidden. So a little history about Strength Finders, how I came up with it, how I started using it was, we use it in my church. And I know it's not surprising, but I am actually the connections coordinator at our church. So when people come in and they're visitors, or they want to place membership in there, or want to be part of our church, the first thing that we do is we invite them to a connections class. Because we all know that when you get connected to people, you stay, right? And when you stay, you get involved. And how do you help people that are not so easily jumping in and going, oh, pick me, I'll do that little job. They don't always jump in. So we started using an assessment. I don't like to call it a test, it's an assessment. And it's an assessment, and the book we used was called Living Your Strengths. Living Your Strengths is no longer in production that I know of. It's only ordered for us now, I think, in churches that use it. But Living Your Strengths is a Christian version of Strength Finders 2.0. Strength Finders 2.0 is used all over the world by corporations. It's done by the Gallup poll, and it's been used for many, many, many years. Well, it's such a cool assessment, and it tells you what your 5 top strengths are out of 34. Out of 34. And I took it about 10 years ago, and then I took it again about 6 months ago. Most of my top 5 strengths did not change, but as I'm evolving as a leader, my strengths have changed. So I'll tell you a couple of my strengths. I'll tell you all 5 of my strengths. They're probably not going to mean much to you because you don't understand the strength assessment yet. But this will blow Marie's mind because Marie knows.
Before you say that, tell
Okay.
them, don't do any research on this before you take the test.
No.
So you don't influence your answers.
Right. Just take it. Don't read it.
So are you gonna post the link?
I already did.
And you have to buy the book. And it has to
Never note.
You have to
Which is
take
number
away
two.
one of her strengths is includer. It really is. It definitely is. So so when I took the test, there were some things that I found out about myself, and I'm like, crap. That is why I do what I do. That's why I feel what I feel. I didn't really know it. But Marie laughs about this because Marie knows how bold I am.
Yes.
And I don't usually mince my words. And I kind of say what I feel. And sometimes it kind of gets me in trouble, right? But it always comes from here. You know what? Oh, it's not a vindictive sharing. It's just coming from here. And you guys know what I mean. When you want to just help your consultant, like overcome something, you're just like, put your big girl panties on and just do it, you know? Yeah, no fluff. I am no fluff, and I don't like lace. That's why I don't wear lace. I'm pretty straightforward. But my top strength is harmony. It's not yours, I can tell you that, right?
No, I
Not what
don't.
people think. Okay? So, but it is my number 1 strength. And you would not know that if you didn't really know me. If you just saw me on the exterior, or you just came to like maybe 1 or 2 of my first meetings, and I was pretty like that, and not, That's exactly right, wasn't I? I was really tough with Jenny, right? Jeannie. I was really tough with her. You were, and this is, can I just share?
Sure.
So she and I were chatting yesterday afternoon, and I saw her a couple of years ago or a year ago at another retreat, and she said some of the same things about, I'm such an old consultant, I've been in this business, I can't embrace these virtual parties, I can't do this, I want to. That was a year or two ago, and here she is, she's saying the same thing. So what did I say? I said, Jenny, you were at a retreat a couple of years ago and you were saying the same thing, and now you're here 2 years later and you're still saying the same thing. When are you going to just do it? I don't even know her.
Tell the rest of the story.
What was the rest? My memory's about this long.
Yeah, so okay, hard ass.
Yeah, and I went, oh no, you said what I did. Yeah.
No, I don't want to.
And that's exactly how I feel. That's my harmony. That's my harmony. Because I don't want people to view me as not caring. I don't want people to view me as not a loving individual that I don't want to share. So I have all this harmony inside of me. I can't stand conflict. I can't stand conflict. So if I ever have any kind of confrontation with a customer, a consultant, a host, my husband, I let him kind of stew a little bit and then I'll go. But I don't like conflict at all. So that's why harmony, it doesn't have time to do with my business, but it tells a lot about me and why I feel and do what I do. So some of my other ones are, this is a new one for me. I have significance. It's a strength of mine. It means I want to be a part of something significant. I want to do something that's going to make a huge impact. So when you look at the committees that I'm on at church, don't ask me to teach Bible class. Sorry, I am not a teacher of little ones. I have about this much patience. I also don't want to do something that I have to do over and over and over and over again, which is teaching, right? I want to plan the 50th anniversary where we're inviting 600 people to our church for the 50th anniversary, because that's something of significance. It's going to make a big impact. I always helped run VBS. VBS was a significant event at our church. And do what?
You're like my twin.
Oh.
Yes.
So you're going to be so anxious to find out what your strengths are. So I have developers, so I like to develop people, right? Makes sense in my business. I used to be, on my list was competitiveness. That dropped off. I guess maybe as I got older, it didn't become as important. But my harmony and my competitiveness did this right here, because I really wanted to win. I really wanted to achieve that goal, but then there were some things that just kind of made me, oh, maybe I don't want to do it that bad, because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So those are some things that I have found out about myself in the last few years of being a part of my church and being a part of the Strength Finders. And now what I'm doing is I'm passing it on to people, because it's made such an impact in my life. And I've passed it on. We have a mastermind group, which I'll talk about in just a minute, that actually kind of came out of this question that I asked on Director Success. The masterminds group that I have is 5 directors, and we're trying to keep it into just a small group, because you start adding people and then it becomes this huge Facebook group. But we're really trying to keep it into an intimate, and I'm going to challenge each one of you to form your own mastermind group. This is another thing I learned in the power of focus. And I had heard Marie tell me a few years ago, she's in a mastermind group and she gets so excited to work with these other really dynamic directors that she's not necessarily connected to, but they share. And now you're sharing in a much smaller group. And I think that's what helped me kind of open up and feel a little bit more worthy. Because in my smaller group, I felt like I had something to give. In the larger groups, as crazy as it sounds, I kind of just want to stay back and watch all the other rock stars float to the top. Everybody's shaking their head and going, yep, that's exactly how I feel. So form something where you can feel worthy in a group. And it doesn't matter, you don't have to be an upper level. Form up with some directors who are moving in the same position that you want to move to. Surround yourself with 5 people that are working on the same things you're working on. And that's what this mastermind group, we're all advanced directors and we're all working toward the same goal. Or directors who have a little bit larger team that are working toward advanced director. So, in the Strength Finders, I found that my last one fit me to a T. And I've had it the entire time that I've ever done it, and I didn't know really what it was. It's called WOO. And it's an acronym for winning others over. Does that go pretty well with sales? I do pretty well selling people a double burner grill pan at full price. I do pretty well at selling people a rock crock withstand at full price. Because I'm winning them over. You're going to have WOO probably. You're winning them over to see, why do you need this in your life? Okay? I use that also when I'm trying to build a group, when I'm trying to build a team. I encourage people to participate in things. I delegate. That's a kind of a way of wooing people. I'm winning them over to participate. So you're going to find what your strengths are, and when you do, you're going to go, this is why I do what I do. But then this is how I can use it better in my business and especially with my family. So my husband is on this end of the spectrum and I'm on this end. He is a learner. Ugh. He's got context. Ugh. He's restorative. Ugh. It's all history and learning and and I can't stand any of that. But now I appreciate it more. And I don't yell at him all the time for always being on the phone and reading the news. He's always reading the news. He's always reading something. He's an attorney. He is an information gatherer. And I'm an information giver. Okay, so it will also help you if your significant other takes this as well, so you can see, wow, this is why I'm going to give you this part of our planning the trip. Because he's going to research the why this is a great place to be there. He's going to research the reviews. He's going to I'm the frugal Fanny. I'm going to research the price and the value, okay? So now you understand how to use your strengths. So using them in your business is really important, because if you're missing some strengths, give them to a director on your team that may have that. And as an example, in group settings of your team, we use this in our elders. So in our elders at our church, all of our elders at our church took the Strength Finders. Each one of them have very different strengths. One is strategic, one is a wooer, one is communication, so they do different things in the church. You're not going to put your strategic guy who has no way of getting people excited to be in front of the congregation, right? You want the person who's going to get them excited about being involved into something, or sharing some maybe hard information, because they have that harmony or they have that communication skill. So think about the group that you work with and what are they good at. Give them that to let them use your strength and you use the strengths that you have. Okay, so I'm off that tangent.
Can I interject one thing?
Sure.
Rachel Hollis says you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yes.
So when I did the day 12 of 12 Days of Success that was on Director of Success in December, one of the first things I pointed out is that one thing that was really hard for me in calendar year 18 is I had a breakup with my besties that I did all my team meetings with, and I was really heartbroken, but my team doubled after I did it. And so it was, I did not realize that for the past 7 years I had been doing meetings with the same group of people and our goals were not aligned. And so it was really hard to go through that breakup. but I surrounded myself with different people, and we have grown. So sometimes you have to have a breakup, you know, to progress.
Absolutely. Okay, so, I'm now reading, listening to, no, listening to this one, this is a listening, Brian Tracy's No Excuses, okay? So what did Judy say? Leaders are readers. Leaders are listeners. So Brian Tracy has this quote in the very beginning of his book, and I should have put it on a slide, and I'm sorry. If you do what other successful people do over and over again, nothing can stop you from achieving the same rewards they do. But if you don't do what successful people can do, nothing can help you. That's pretty basic, right? Can we say it again? If you do what other successful people do over and over again, nothing can stop you from achieving the same rewards they do. But if you don't do what successful people can do, nothing can help you. So, what do you know about most successful people in Pampered Chef? They have systems, and they do it over and over and over again. All right, just think on that thought. If you are not this is another Brian Tracy quote. If you are not happy with your current crop, plant a new one. The law of sowing and reaping. Exactly what Tiffany just said. If you're not happy with your crop, plant a new one. And it's the law of sowing and reaping. John Maxwell's The 15 Laws of Growth, yes. Okay, so this is what I did. I planted a new crop. And when I went to this retreat, and this is one thing that I'm kind of feeding off of, Maria had asked me, can you share some things that you learned from this retreat? Well, there were 3 people that I've learned from in the last month, and they don't even know that I've learned from them. They're just amazing sharers, and one was Cammie Cruz. Does anyone know Cammie Cruz's story? Y'all know her story?
A little bit.
Okay, do you know she's the top earner in the points level?
Yes, yeah.
400,000 points, it's craziness.
5 little kids.
5 little kids, she had surprise twins, her husband didn't have a job, she had to start being the income breadwinner of her family. She went from doing, about $8,000 to $10,000 a month, which is nothing to sneeze at, to $20,000 to $25,000 in sales a month. And it was because she had to. One of her things was she was sitting on a beach with some amazing little group of directors who do virtual parties, and she was complaining about, I tried these virtual parties. I've tried them over and over again, and I just don't like them. They're not me. They take so much of my time. Why am I spending all this time and I'm not making any money on it? So she just quit doing them. And 2 of the directors there said, Cammie, you have to do these because you have to make money. You're telling us that you have to be the breadwinner now. You can't go out of your home 20 times a month. You have small children now. You have baby twins. You've got to fit Pampered Chef into your life. And she said, you've got to get back to virtual parties, and you've got to do it with a system. And she embraced it. And first month she had 5 or 6, and the next month she had 8 to 10, and the next month she had 15 to 20. And now she does an average of 30 virtual parties a month because she's doing a system, and she can do it with 5 kids under the age of 10, 8, something like that. So what's our excuse? So I looked at her and I went, yep, I felt the same way. I felt like I tried virtual parties over and over and over again, and we get frustrated. We feel like we spend a lot of time on them, but I've never had a system in place. So Brian Tracy says, decide what you want to achieve. We've heard this many, many, many times. So I did. That day at the retreat, I decided what I wanted to achieve first. And I'm a cooking show consultant. And I have a solid cooking show schedule, and I average anywhere between low months of 5, high months of 11 or 12. Averaging $7,000 to $8,000 a month. So I feel like that's pretty good. So, and I can do that with about 6 to 8 cooking shows a month and 2 to 3 virtual parties a month. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to change my thinking here. So I said I'm going to do 6 cooking shows a month and 10 virtual parties for January. That was my goal. Well, I had 6 already cooking shows on my calendar, so that was easy. I'd already done that. And I had did I say cooking? I had 6 cooking shows and 1 catalog show. It wasn't even a virtual party. It was just a little old lady that wanted to do a catalog show. So what did I have to do? I had to do 10 virtual parties on my calendar when I got home from this retreat. So that's exactly what I did. So that's the next quote. It says, determine what the price is you have to pay to get what you want. Determine what the price is that you have to pay to get what you want. And I determined that I needed to work for a solid week to build up my virtual party show schedule so that I could take the system, skeleton that I learned, and I could finally put it into action. So, needless to say, I set my goal for the stars, the moon, whatever, and we landed on a star, so I had 7 virtual parties in 1 week. And I made a mistake in that I was still trying to do my own way and not the system. So I had a few 1-hour parties that had booked from 1-hour parties that I had used to do, right? 1-hour parties like to book 1-hour parties. Multi-day parties like to book multi-day parties because they like to do what they participated in. So I was offering both. Okay, that was a big mistake. But on the multi-day parties, I embraced the system wholeheartedly. And let me tell you, it was not easy. And it was hard work to build the system. And I had to dedicate hours. You know how it feels, you guys, when you're sitting there like thinking, how do I want this to run? What do I want to say to my host? So I had a skeleton. And you guys all have the skeleton too. You just don't know that you have it. You have it. So the last thing that Brian Tracy says is resolve to pay that price. And I resolved to pay that price, and that was the 2 solid weeks of developing my system. And I would get up from the computer at night and I would go, I hate this stupid computer, and I just want to throw it. Because I'm so tired of just working on the system. But you know what? It's done. It's gorgeous. You guys are going to love it. And I feel so confident and worthy of it, I'm sharing it. The hard work pays off. You're going to have to put in the hard work to reap the benefits. Those farmers don't get anything if they just throw the seeds out there, right? You've got to cultivate it. You've got to water it. You've got to build it. And then the harvest will come. I just kept telling myself that the harvest will come. And the harvest hasn't come yet because this is still all new and I can't give you any statistics. I can't show you a paycheck like Stevens. I'm sorry. You're making me. But the harvest will come if you put in the work. So, what did that look like for me? My journey.
I just have to say, I have goosebumps over my head. I feel like my child has just graduated from medical school. I'm so proud of you.
I wish I was making the money at medical school. Okay, so my journey was at 27 years old, I did not know how to cook. And this is what I tell at my shows. I always laugh and I say, I've been selling since I was 12 years old. 24 years, and I started when I was 12. Because I want people to know that I'm 51, right? But they all chuckle and it makes them laugh. But I didn't know how to cook. I grew up in Memphis, southern states, where my mother used Campbell's soup and garlic salt, garlic powder. Come on. And if you grew up in the South, that's what you know. So when my kid came, am I right?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
so when my kid came, I had this thing in there, it was silver, and I didn't know what it was. And it said a garlic press, and I'm like, what the heck is a garlic press? And I was 27, I was newly married to a military guy, and we were just starting our journey. And I wasn't living near my family anymore, and I got this garlic press in my kit. And I'm like, oh, by the way, I was a nurse, full-time critical care nurse, loved my job as a critical care nurse. Just think ER, that was my life. And I loved getting on people's chests and opening them up, and I mean, it was just my life. I was doing something of significance, right? Didn't know that then. My husband takes me down to eastern North Carolina. We lived in Emerald Isle, North Carolina. My husband worked in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. It was about this big. I thought, well, my husband's going to be at sea for 2 years. I need something fun to do. So that's when I had gone to a pampered chef party. I said, I'm just going to do this for fun. I don't need any money. I had a good job. I was going to be a nurse for the rest of my life. I was going to school to get my master's degree. I didn't need another job. But I just did it for fun while he was out at sea. And I was a single woman. I had no kids. And I was living at the beach. Come on. So I needed something fun. So I embraced this pampered chef thing, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't have a director that was close, and there was no internet, there was no time, cell phone. There was cell phones, but they were like really large. They were in a bag.
Emergency phones.
So when I got this kit, I'm sitting in my little house in eastern North Carolina, and I asked my husband, what the heck is this silver thing? He goes, honey, that's a garlic press. And I went, what's a garlic press? I thought garlic came in a salt shaker, right?
Yeah.
So I had to learn what a garlic bulb was. That's how uneducated in cooking I was. So that's my story that I tell. I don't do pampered chef, obviously, for the same reason I did it 27 years ago. And now my husband's at home all the time, but I can't get rid of him. He's retired. So after 30 years in the Coast Guard, my husband retired, and now we are building a different life. But I never stopped learning. And I had to learn from the very beginning to teach myself. I had to teach myself. And I could have been that consultant who said, oh, woe is me, I don't have a director close to me, I don't have a meeting I can go to, I'm just not going to do this because I don't have any support. But I didn't do that. I sought out people. I went to national conference every year. And then the light bulb went off for me when we moved up to Newport News, Virginia, and I said to my husband I was going to take a break from nursing. I had finished my master's degree in nursing. Wow. I now was going to be a clinical nurse specialist, and in ICU, I was super excited, and I said, I'm going to take a break from nursing because when you're a nurse and you go to a new hospital, you get all the crappy shifts, right? Mm-hmm. You're working the 11 to 7, you're working the 12-hour night shift. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that during the holidays this year. So my husband was going to be going to law school at William & Mary, and I thought, you're going to have the holidays off this year for the first time ever in our entire marriage. We're going to have the holidays off together. So I'm going to go back to work as a nurse in January. I'm going to see what I can do with this little pampered chef thing. And by December, I was doing about 5 shows a month, and I had earned a trip, and I didn't even know I earned it.
What was the trip, London?
It was a trip for one to San Diego, California.
Oh, okay.
I had never been west of Oklahoma.
Wow.
And here I was getting on an airplane to fly to San Diego, California. I didn't know anybody on my team, except for one girl that I had recruited who was a freaking rock star. I didn't help her. She just did her own thing, I didn't even know what I was doing. How could I help her? So she and I went to San Diego together. It was connected to Leadership Conference at that time.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw the big picture with these women make money. Holy cow. What am I doing? That's when I realized my next strength. My next strength was a developer. And I realized at that moment, I needed to be my own boss. I didn't need somebody telling me what to do. And that's why I walked away from a master's degree in nursing and said, I'm gonna see what I can do with this, because I like being my own boss. So that's how it all evolved. But I've always been the kind of person that's not going to sit and wallow and go, I don't know how to do it. I'm going to seek out how to do it. And maybe that comes from me being the baby of 4 girls. All my sisters would browbeat me because I was the sister they didn't want. They were all happy where they were, and then this little runt comes along and they have to change my diapers and babysit me. But I was a smart little runt. And I watched my sisters make mistakes over and over and over and over again. I'm like, I ain't marrying that kind of guy, and I'm definitely not marrying that kind of guy, and I'm not gonna let that kind of guy treat me that way. And I think that's where I kind of got my inner, I'm gonna take care of myself kind of personality. So, in being military, our cheese gets moved. Right, you know what that book is?
Yeah.
Who Moved My Cheese? I guess I must be a Brian Tracy lover, but Who Moved My Cheese? So I read that many years ago when I moved from Newport News, Virginia to Northern Virginia. And my cheese had gotten moved. It was a whole different lifestyle of people. I had to conform to that lifestyle. I had to learn that way of living. I had to do it again when I moved from Northern Virginia, down to Latin America. I literally lived in Latin America. I was a minority in South Florida. In Weston, Florida, I was a minority. My cheese had been moved again, and I had to relearn this business in a whole different culture. And I could have been that consultant who said, oh, crap, this is, and Marie heard me for years. I can't wait till I get out of this place. Can't wait till I get, but I earned every trip while I lived down there. I earned excellence every year I lived down there. And I just had to make it happen and learn how to work in the situation that I was in. So, at this retreat that I attended, Cami Cruz, I listened to, and you know, I had seen on Coffee Talk. Is everybody on Coffee Talk?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. Okay. I had seen on Coffee Talk this video. You know how you say you scroll through things and things catches your eye? You know, Sharon Zellen is on video all the time on Coffee Talk, right? And sometimes we don't always have the time to just sit and watch a video. And I had kind of bypassed this video that she had interviewed Stephen. How many of y'all know the video I'm talking about? Raise your hand.
I watched it twice.
Okay. You obviously bypassed it as well. There was a video where she interviewed Stephen Drapowski. Okay. I went right by it. But then I heard a little thing that said, you need to go watch this Sharon Zellen video. And I didn't even see it posted in yours. Just saying. Okay? And I went back and I watched that video as I was cleaning my office one day. As I was purging my office. So I was about half listening. And I really wasn't paying attention to the details. And then I'm thinking, wow, wouldn't it be really nice to have the words that he's using? They were there. How many of y'all have used them? 1, 2. Okay. How many of you all took that system that he used and made it your own? Okay? So, that was what I embraced. And I'm going to go back to what Brian Tracy said. If you do what other successful people do over and over again, you will become successful too. If you don't believe that, you're in the wrong place. He shared it. Use it. So that's what I did. I embraced it. So now I'm going to take Sharon Zellen's words, famous words from many years ago on stage when she was bawling her head off and said, it's never too late to be great. So it's never too late for me to be great. So I'm excited to share with you guys this system. And then I will show you how I'm training my team, which is where it's all at. Because that is where I want to grow. So, how's my time?
You're fine.
Okay. Okay,
Um,
so,
Are you
yes,
supposed to have a screen?
wake up. There we go. All right. I'll tell you a little bit about this picture. This is actually my photo. This is not a screen. This is not a screen one you borrow from Microsoft. This is my picture. This is a castle in the Cotswolds area of England. And my sister, who I love and adore so much, she's my only sister left out of the four of us. She works for FedEx and she goes to the Cotswolds area about once every 6 months to do training. FedEx has actually bought out the TNT, which is their version of FedEx in England. So FedEx is now going to be all in England now. And her company, her section of FedEx is who trains people to use all of the software. Blah, blah, blah. So she was so loving and flew me out to enjoy a week with her in the Cotswolds. And while she was working, I went to this castle. And I'm actually standing in one of these turrets here, way over here, because the castle was this big circle area. And so I'm pretty proud of that picture. It's actually what's more beautiful on my computer, as you all can.
Is it this one?
Okay, so, how did I begin this journey? The first thing I did was I watched Steve's video. So if you have not watched Steve's video, this is step one, because you need to buy in. You're not going to buy in from me. I am not the person behind the $6,000 check. I'm not the person behind the $12,000 check. He is. I'm the conduit. Does that make sense? Okay? He's the creator, and I'm the conduit. But you got to watch him to buy into him first. And that's my first step that I tell my consultants is, you know how when you're the mother and your kids don't listen to you, but somebody else will tell them the same thing that you told them 15 times, and they go, Mom, guess what I heard from? And you're like, I told you that the last 15 years of your life, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
that's kind of how this was. I'm not there yet.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of how this was. So I watched the, I don't have my glasses, I'm sorry. I watched the video. I don't think I need to show it to you guys, do I?
Where was it?
Oh, it's in Coffee Talk.
Coffee.
And then just search Sharon Zellen. Just search Sharon Zellen. I'll share with where I put it in my team page. But so in the Sharon Zellen,
Yeah, we're looking for.
Oh,
We'll get it on there.
Yeah.
What's
I
that?
can't find it.
I'll post it in this group.
Okay.
okay, well that's where I found it. It's also on P-Chef Team too. If you're part of the P-Chef Team training. The first thing you have to tell your team, and you have to do yourself. Don't teach any of this team to your team until you do it yourself. This is my next piece of advice. So I taught myself first. So I watched the Steve's video, and then I went and I looked at his notes.
Bless you.
And for the first time, I read through I printed them out, and I read through them. And I took them all in, and I'm like, God, I'm so stupid. Why didn't I do this 2 months ago? Because we're busy, and we go, wow, that's a lot of words, and I don't want to read all that. And you know how it feels, right? So I took it in. But you know what? It truly was a skeleton. It was a skeleton. It was a structure. So you're not just a skeleton, right? But if I took all of your bones away, what would happen?
Collapse.
You would collapse. You need the skeleton. You need the structure. What I did was I put my own personal meat on the skeleton. And I appreciate that from him. I appreciate that from him. Because you do have to make it your own. And you do have, so he gave all of us the skeleton. And then I put my meat on it. I'm going to share with you my entire body in this, but I really prefer that you guys make it your own. Because it took me hours to make it my own. And I had to piece some things together. And he did not give us his virtual party layout at all. He did not share that at all. All he shared was the major components of the system. So, I booked my 7 virtual parties and I started. During that 2 weeks that I was building my system, I was learning and watching and gathering other people, right? A quote from yesterday, if I step out, my team will follow.
Mm-hmm.
So I stepped out. I built my system, and I'm gonna go through this step by step by step. But the first thing that I did when I began to train my team was they need a visual, you guys.
Yep.
They need a visual. So I set up a mock virtual party for my team. And I did it exactly like the system. The first thing that I wanted to find out was who's serious about getting better in virtual parties. So about 2 weeks, 3 weeks prior to me rolling this out, I said, who would love to have 10 virtual parties on their calendar and do them successfully? Raise your hand or say I'm in. I'm forming a virtual party team group. And that's what I did with my entire organization. And I kept it up there for about a week. And then I did something I've never done before. And that is I formed a Facebook message group chat with 23 desiring consultants. Because you all know how they miss things in your team group page, right? They don't miss a private message.
No.
So I have 23 people, and the group is called Virtual Party Rockstars. So I'm starting off letting them know what? They're going to be rock stars. So I'm playing on their psyche. They're going to be rock stars. So I formed this group. It is always up and running, and people are always commenting on it. And here's what the group looks like. Virtual Party Rock Stars.
So the group's only in Messenger, right?
Only in Messenger.
It's not a group.
No,
Okay.
I didn't want to add them to yet another group.
Right.
Okay,
They're grouped out.
yeah.
So, if you notice, I share with them, I'm in the blue, okay? I share with them the post for the day, all right, in the host coaching part. And I'm just sharing with you all of the many comments that they make. They talked about so many things in this group chat. They said, Linda, we're not seeing the notifications. Linda, how do I go in and post this? So some of your newer consultants, this is gold to them. So instead of running a party for them, this is my mock virtual party that I can ask them questions in and out of the party, okay, to kind of see where they are. The other thing that I did was I chose a new consultant to be the host for the day. So that way they could see what the host responsibility is and what they have to do. You know, light bulb goes off. First new consultant that I asked to be the host of the day, and I asked her to post this. She posted it in the group chat, not in the mock party group, because they didn't understand the lingo. We use this stuff so much because we know what it means, assuming they know what it means. So I went in and I very sweetly said, hey Sarah, you know, she's young too, man, she's 19 years old. Hey Sarah, just a little note. This goes in the mock virtual party. She goes, I realized that after I put it in this group, you know, but it's a learning process for them. But isn't it so much nicer for them to learn with everybody else than to put themselves out in an area they have no clue where they're at, right? So, all right, come on, baby, you gotta go all the way down the bottom. So here's my McGuire mock virtual party. So I'm running this party just as if I ran a regular virtual party like Steve does. So the system runs Friday, Saturday, you invite people. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is your post for the party. You close out on Thursday. Starting on Friday. Okay? So, the system that he gave us, I literally have just mopped through them. It's not rocket science. The hard part was me putting the meat on the system. So here's my system, and it's a Word document. It's also an Evernote, but the pictures don't share very well, so I can't share the
Working on
Evernote.
that.
Is it gonna be on our training site?
Yes, I'll put this up on the training site.
You know, Linda, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for
Yeah,
sharing.
I know.
Thank
This
you.
is
Come
good.
on.
This is
I know,
good.
you guys, come on. Seriously, how many people share with us?
Lot.
It's my turn. It's my time to share. And I was just
Thank you.
sharing in the room this morning. I never felt worthy enough to share.
Yeah.
And
Not so true, girl.
So here we go.
Not true.
Would you like to make this paycheck?
Yes.
Do you think it can be done in 1 year?
Of course.
Well, let's see how to do that with a virtual party business. So I don't know if you guys can see this. You probably can't because I can't see it up here either. This was Steven's paycheck.
Yeah.
This is, he signed in April of 2016.
What's it say?
What does it say?
I'm going to tell you. Okay, this is his paycheck.
But what is it?
He signed in April 2016. This is October 2017 paycheck. It says $6,616 in 1 year.
1 year?
No, he
year and a half.
signed in
A year
April of
later.
2016.
A year later.
This is October
Year and a half.
2017.
So like 18 months?
This is October 2018.
So 1 year later.
1 year later, and this is $12,968
Oh my gosh.
From virtual
Here,
party?
with that.
from virtual parties.
All virtual.
Only.
Yes, it will.
Never left the house.
Does he have a full-time?
He does not have a full-time job. He had a full-time job.
And
When
I
he
can
made
do
his
systems.
first paycheck of $6,000, he says, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And that's when he developed the system that he can do this. So, let me ask you again, would you like this paychecks in a virtual party business?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you willing to embrace the system?
Yes.
Okay, so this is how I gave this information to my team. I did a small team retreat about 2 weeks ago, and I'm standing in front of my eager consultants, and I said, you know what, let me ask you a question. If you had like a mole on your face, or you had something wrong with your stomach, or just something wasn't right, would you go to the doctor and try to figure out what was going wrong, right? You had some kind of growth that was not going away with like medicine or lotion. Yeah, you go to the doctor and say, hey, tell me what this is and fix it, right? You take the medicine, you would take the treatment. That's what I'm giving you. You have an ailment
Yeah.
in your business.
Amen.
I'm giving you a pill. This is my pill. I'm giving you a pill. Are you going to take it? And that's what I asked my team. Here's your treatment. Are you going to take the treatment? So, as I continue on, the very first step he gave us is you can't start a virtual party business without what? This is literally verbatim
Oh my goodness.
from him. This is the skeleton that he gave me. So it says, and I'm not going to read it all, but it says when starting out a new consultant, and I treat all my team now as new virtual party consultants. I treat them all as new, even though they've been in the business 2, 3, 4 years, they're still all new virtual party consultants because I'm teaching them a system to make them successful. So, when starting out as a new consultant, you want to make sure you're asking everyone you are on Facebook friends with initially. People on Facebook, whether you've seen them or talked to them recently, will want to support you. So they will likely host a party online for you. My first 3 bookings were a girl from a wedding, a girl I hadn't seen in 10 years, I was in a musical with, and a neighbor on my sister-in-law's friend. They just wanted to support me. And the people that you think, oh, they will definitely say yes, will not. This is why you have to be brave enough and ask everyone. Go through your Facebook friends and green dot them. Ask everyone that is green on your messaging list first, and then move to your total friends list. I encourage you to use this language when you are green dotting. Now listen to this language. This is the magic.
Let's hear it. Bring it on.
I could never come up with. Hi there, I hope you are well. I just wanted to reach out to you as I'm casting a wide net among my Facebook friends. I just became a consultant with the Pampered Chef, and they have to tweet that if they've been a consultant for a while. And I'm super excited. If you haven't heard, Pampered Chef is a company that sells high-quality kitchen tools, gadgets, bakeware, cookware, you name it. I have a big goal this month and next of booking blank online Facebook parties. I was wondering if you might be interested in earning some free and discounted product. I have this date and this date open to start online parties. All you have to do is to be a host, is add people to a group I create and post once a day in the group post I send you. Literally 5 seconds of copying and pasting a day. And most of my hosts earn over $100 in free products and 3 half-price items. I hope you will consider supporting my new business. It's scary to start something new, but you never know until you try.
So you didn't say that though?
I didn't say that.
No, I mean, you had to tweak yours.
No, that's it. I use that exact same thing.
You just didn't say you were a new.
As I said, I just don't say I'm a new consultant.
You
And
You
this
can say
is
a new
something new
virtual
for me.
Pampered Chef.
Do I?
This is something new.
This is not something new for me.
Or you
I'm
can say,
venturing out in a new aspect of my Pampered Chef business.
How many, yes?
I'm a new virtual Pampered Chef.
Oh,
Okay, so I want to give you guys some statistics that I do have. All 23 people that's in this virtual party group chat that I have started out using this. They've added a total of 16 virtual parties in 2 weeks to their calendar. And these are people that had no parties at all. They didn't know what they were doing. I've also had 4 new consultants in the last month that I'm using the exact same verbiage. So this is now part of my new consultant training. Okay?
Do you
Now we
mail
go
paper catalogs too?
Do what?
Mail paper catalogs too?
Okay, so Stephen does not.
Really?
I offer. I say, hey, would it be helpful if I sent you a couple of catalogs in the mail? And if they're not catalog people, they're gonna go, no, that's okay, I'll just do the online thing.
right. I'm sending interactive, okay?
You know?
So that they
Oh,
charge
yeah,
like
that
a
for sure.
catalog
Right.
instead of the link for
Yeah.
ordering.
That for sure, yeah.
Okay, so I just want to be sure I understand the timing of the way you presented this to your team.
What?
Oh, can I do that? I'm gonna do that, I promise.
The
I'm gonna do that.
Oh, you can
Okay?
skip the link.
All right,
Want
so,
me to show you?
everybody on board with this?
Yes.
Okay. Now, note, you always want to give them 2 start dates. This is something your consultants don't know how to do. When you are running your system, and I don't care what date you start your parties, my parties, I'm not stupid, I'm doing them exactly like Stephen. Friday start date.
Friday start day or Friday, Saturday, add people day.
That's a start date.
Okay.
Friday is add people. Okay, because they're adding people before that, and I'll go into that. But you start your virtual parties the same day every week. I've been hearing that for months and years, and I've never done it.
Yeah,
Right?
it'll drive you nuts if you
It
don't.
does drive you nuts. So I'm doing exactly the system, Fridays. So when I started reaching out to people, hey, I'm doing virtual parties on this date and this date, and it was the next 2 Fridays I was starting virtual parties. I didn't give them anything past the first 2 weeks. So I said, I have the 8th of February or the 15th of February, which one works best for you? And they would pick the 8th or the 15th. So that's what I do. So right now I'm offering the 22nd and the 1st, okay? 1st of March, because I'm constantly booking the next 2 weeks. And my goal is to have consistently, right now, 4 virtual parties a week, okay? So that's way more than my 10, wasn't it? Because now I have a system, and I can run 4 virtual parties at a time. Stephen does 8 to 10 a week,
That's what Cammy Cruz does.
and that's what Cammy Cruz does too. 8 to 10 a week.
And she's using the same system he is,
I'm sure,
to an extent.
to an extent,
Okay.
I'm sure,
I
yeah.
have a question. Did he mention how he does his host coaching? Like, is it through phone calls?
Oh, it's right here. It's all right here.
Hold on.
It's all right here. Yep. And he never makes phone calls.
I
Because
just can't imagine doing
Everything
that
she's
many
doing.
phone calls.
He doesn't make
No,
phone
he
calls.
doesn't make phone calls.
he does voice texting,
Yeah.
voice Facebook Messenger. So he'll leave a voice message on Facebook Messenger with his host. Because he says, I'm not a morning person. I don't do videos typically with my host, but I will definitely send them a good morning. Your party starts today. I'm so excited. Hope you are. Just kind of an
So then
uplifting.
they can still hear his voice.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Like that. No makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so he talks about systems all the time. And then this is the magic that he does. And now I have this in place. My consultants keep asking me if I don't have an old part, a bad party, and a good party to add them to, what do I do? And I'm like, don't worry about it. You don't have to do this yet. Just take baby steps. But what he does is he takes that new host and he adds them to a previous party that was a good party and a bad party. And then he asks his host, what did you notice between the two parties? And he said, well, there's a ton of interaction. The hosts are sharing, the hosts are posting, the hosts are commenting on the, and now he says, which party do you want to be? So that is, I will add you to one of my parties that's a good and bad to give you an idea of how important your host is to your party. Okay, so or how important you are to the party. So now you have bookings. Now this is where my meat starts. Because I wanted to have a document to give my consultants that here's your pill. Here's your pill. So you have bookings, what do you have to do? You can't run virtual parties 4 in a week without SendShare or Post My Party. You just can't do it. It's not feasible, I'm sorry. Unless you just want to stay on your phone or your computer all day long. And I know the reality of my team is working, they have small children. I don't want to be on it all day long. So I have told my consultants, stop using Facebook Scheduler. You're wasting your time. Right, Lisa? Because you put them in Facebook Scheduler
And you just can't get back.
and you can't get back to it. You can't reproduce it. So stop using Facebook Scheduler. You have to invest. Is it worth $10 of your life a month to do the work for you and repeat it over and over and over again? I don't feel bad about asking my consultant who's on a budget to spend $10 a month. I'm
Right.
sorry, I just
Yeah.
don't feel bad doing it.
She'll learn
That's-
that quickly.
Exactly. If she's gonna do the, and they have 30 days to realize if they're gonna do it or not. And if they're not doing it and do it, then they can cancel it. SendShare is very generous with that.
Yeah.
So, now you have bookings, it's time to set up your SendShare. I realize that SendShare is an added expense. However, with having the ability to duplicate a party multiple times during the week, you will only spend the time one time setting it up and then you will duplicate it for every party. I will even share my template with you so you don't have to set up the party from scratch. There is a video for training on how to use SendShare on YouTube. Click here to see the SendShare on what SendShare is all about. Click, you're there, okay? Now, once you decide to subscribe to SendShare, you use the code SendSheet for a free 30-day subscription. After 30 days, it's approximately $12 a month. Once your party is set up on Facebook, you can find banners and marketing imagery on PSHEP website, set up in a consultant's corner, URL, update your URL, complete to share. Now you will begin your host coaching process. Now, pause. I literally did a Zoom video of me doing this from the very first step. I got a booking! Yay! Let me put it in Consultant's Corner. Put it in Consultant's Corner. You change the URL. You give it a defining URL. You go into Facebook. You set up the group in Facebook. You invite your host to the Facebook group. You put the banner up there. Where do you get your banner from? Then you set up SendShare. I go in, I show them how to set up SendShare and take my template. I even show them a template from a saved document, okay? Because when they get my SendShare template, it's gonna come into a saved document without timing. That's very critical. You guys understand that? So they're gonna get your entire template of how it runs, but they're not gonna get the timing of the post. So you do have to help them to understand. And I do it just like Steve. And when I tell you what Steve did, you're gonna do exactly what I did. And he posts 16 posts a day.
Ooh.
But
That's exactly what I did. I went,
Ooh.
but he posts 4 at 7, 4 at 12, 4 at 6, and 4 at 9.
Wait, say
And
those
it's 7
times.
o'clock, 7:02, 7:04, and 7:06.
Right, say those times again.
7, 12, 6, and 9.
9 PM?
9 PM.
Oh, okay.
After the kids are in bed, people are scrolling on Facebook.
Yep.
Exactly right.
Even though statistics say, and we looked this up yesterday, that they're there from 1 to 4, I'm never on Facebook from 1 to 4. Who is on Facebook from 1 to 4? I don't understand that.
People at work want to work and get bored.
Oh, okay, well, see, I've been working all morning and I'm like, okay, I'm done, I'm going to the gym, I'm going grocery shopping, I'm doing, yeah. So that's what they say, but I'm gonna kind of do what I feel like.
And I think they're not really on. I think like you said, if you're bored at work, you're kind of, you don't even really take the time
And I do
to
see
watch
the
them.
majority of my comments over the last few days, few weeks that I've been doing these virtual parties this way, I do see a lot of my guests in my notifications. I'll have 10 comment about 8 o'clock at night. You know, one person finally goes in and looks at all the posts and comments or likes. And I see that a lot more in the evening than I do during the day. And I'll see it in the morning, and I'll see it in the evening, but I don't see as much during the day, which is why I leave that whole day long empty. So I do 7, 12 lunchtime, 6 when they're at home, and then 9 o'clock before they're going to bed. Now that's my time Eastern.
You know what, Linda, do they, because you're posting for like a couple minutes apart, right? So are you, so they get one notification, so everybody would just get one notification, right? Because
For that
of those 4
time.
posts. So each time they only get one notification because you're posting, you're getting 4 notifications?
Oh, really?
I thought.
One for every post.
Usually when you group them together,
Yeah.
If you group them within 3 minutes, it's only one notification.
right, okay.
Oh, I
So,
didn't know that.
and the other thing is if you are running 4 to 5 per
So you
week,
do 4.
Nope,
That's the purpose of doing them close together, so they don't get 16
Right.
notifications.
exactly.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
but there's no Facebook jail in groups. Steve's never gotten put in Facebook jail.
no, but what I'm
so-
saying is that when you deploy them, so
Yeah.
you deploy them all, so for each of the groups, for each of the 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 groups, whatever that you're doing, parties that you're doing, if you are posting at 7, 12, 6, and 9, you are not getting, you're not getting anything from Facebook, like a pushback saying
Well,
you
according to
are,
Steve, no.
okay,
So you don't have to alter the time.
No.
right,
According to Steven, no.
So you do all 4 parties at 7
Yep,
and 7:02.
yep,
Like
Okay.
just one
Yep.
post, but it's going to all 4,
Okay.
exactly the same.
yep. As far as I know.
How many have you done up to? Have you done up to 4 at a time?
Just 2 so far.
Okay.
I'm in the building, I'm in the baby
Yeah.
step process.
You know what happens? What happens is that what I have experienced is that the posts don't go. So you have to make sure, like they hold the post. Like if you have too many going out,
You're saying that's a sense share issue.
no,
Facebook.
no, it's a
Yeah, it's a
Facebook.
Facebook acceptance
I
type
haven't
thing.
seen that
Becca
yet.
said she doesn't have it, has never had an issue.
I think what they're trying to ask
Okay.
is, if you have 4 parties going and you're shooting out
Or at 7 o'clock.
So now you've got 16. I mean, no, you've got,
But in post
You know, you've got 4, 4, 4, 4.
You change your template by 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 7
Yeah, you
minutes.
can, yeah. And I could do that too.
okay.
Like she's saying, or
That's what I'm
have
saying.
Well, you could do that just to be safe.
Do
That's what
I
I
start
do.
one at
I
7
have one at
and one at
8:01, I
7:15?
have one at 8:02, one
They
at
were
8:03.
holding.
Linda,
I haven't tried that yet.
Facebook.
I'm just telling, I'm not an expert.
Yeah.
I know, I'm just
People were
asking.
getting into jail was when they would deploy several at one time.
Right.
But
Right.
that was in the.
Well, Becca probably is more experienced.
I've
with this
always
than
done
I am.
groups.
No, I've done exactly that. Now, what I did, I'd run 4 parties at a time in a group. What I would do though, I would start them all on the same day, but when I set them up, just because I was like afraid, I would set it up like 15 minutes later for posting from party to party.
Right.
But it's gonna, post 15 minutes apart from a different party.
Right.
But I mean, when it surprised me, if he sets them all up at the same time and it's working, then when it surprised me.
Wait,
that
he's
it
not
worked.
doing Cinshare though, is
He's
he?
not, he does.
He does both. He says he
Okay.
does manual posting too.
Okay, I thought
but
manual posting,
He
so
does
maybe he's
manual
okay.
posting too, but I
Yeah.
think he also
I
uses
use
Accenture.
Visibly. I really like Visibly because you also have, it includes in your subscription an email campaign where you can send out automated emails to your hosts or whatever. So that's included in the $10 a month.
Oh, no, sorry.
But I've never used it.
But I see Maggie was posting.
Yes.
I was signed up for this before, and I was like, I
Yeah,
can't run all
I ain't got time to learn 8,000 different fucking websites.
Yeah,
I
you
like
gotta
to
just-
share.
We only have 5 minutes.
Yeah, we only have
left.
5 minutes left. Okay.
Want to make
All
sure.
right,
Yeah, get it in.
so here's the host coaching part that's so critical. So critical. He starts a Friday party off, like today is my day to start off my Friday parties. My Friday parties
day is
start
it
today. And you gotta think about this. I'm not posting anything into the party.
Right.
I'm starting to talk to my host about getting ready. Okay? He starts on Tuesday with this. Hi there, I'm so excited for your paper chip party to begin this week. I hope you're excited because my goal is to get everything on your wish list for free. I've created your Facebook group and added you to it, so look for notifications from the link, click OK at the top. Now it's time for you to add your friends. You will want to add 150 people from your friends list because they usually 50 to 75 will decide to become a member of the party. Click OK to see post and then 12 to 13 will order. Give blah, 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 blah. You guys can read this. But this is what he sends to his post on Tuesday morning. You guys know how your hosts are. They may not see this until the end of the day. You may not ever see it at all. You may have to go back in and say, hey, did you get your message that I sent you? He is building in some buffer time over the next 3 days to make sure by the time Friday starts,
Yeah.
he's got 30, 40, 50 members in the party. Does that make sense? So this is why he starts on Tuesday. Okay? So,
Very similar.
after you've added your friends to the group, now it's time to add your first post to the party.
Very similar.
In a second message, copy and paste the verbiage for your host to post to the group. So your host is doing a welcome. Remember, this is their house. And that's what I also tell them. This is your house. Invite your guest in and say hello.
Yeah.
Hi, if he doesn't put that in there, I'll put that in. Okay, so, hi everyone, I'm hosting a pamper chip party and you're all invited. If you haven't clicked go in on the party yet, please click. And this is coming from your host. I send them, if it's in bold, it's what I send to the host to post, and the picture. So I copy and paste this into a Facebook message, send it to my host and tell her to post this.
In the
party.
group. Yeah.
Okay, Wednesday. Now we're gonna work on adding some more people. So now he sends and says, hi, I'm so excited to be hosting an online pamper chip party right here on Facebook. He sends this to the host and he tells the host to put this on their Facebook wall. To get people to say, oh, invite me, please. They probably already been invited and they don't really know it because they don't check their notifications, right? So this is just a step 2 of getting more people into the group that want to be in the group, okay?
Question,
Yes.
is he posting stuff from his
Nope.
template in here? It's purely from the host for pre-party.
Pre-party,
Cool. Like,
okay? Wednesday, I'm gonna teach Becca something.
I
How
know,
about that? I'm worthy! Okay.
You're crazy.
So Wednesday, pre-party again, the send in the night. Because you send in the morning, different people are looking at Facebook at night. I just want to let you know that from just posting what you did earlier today, parties members went from blank to blank. That's this many more than from your simple post. Okay? Would you be willing to post the same language and link to a group tonight? Your friends log into social media at different times. So he's explaining to them first, and then he's sending them the post. Okay? Then, Thursday, party, send in the AM. If they say yes, so this is where he's going to ask them to send out individual messages to people via Facebook Messenger. Would you be willing to spend 20 to 25 individual people this message? And if they say yes, then you send them this verbiage with this picture. If you say no, then you send them this verbiage. No, I understand. Would you be at least willing to tag 15 to 20 people in one of the posts you did yesterday? Friday. Message to host. Now he does this in a group message to all of his hosts that are starting on Friday. So if he has 8 to 10 hosts on Friday, he puts all of those hosts in a group message.
On Tuesday?
No, on Friday.
So he's been individually messaging them, and then all of a sudden on Friday, he puts them in a group message.
Yes, because now they're all gonna get the same post that they're gonna post every day into their daily Facebook message.
And he
I wonder
tells
why
them
he
that
does
they're
that.
going. Because before then, he has the week before those. He uses the same text.
Because he's telling them you've got this many people as members.
Yeah,
And he's
it's
because he also,
Yeah,
when
more
Cammy says,
individualized.
Yeah.
when Cammy says that she has a group message that she keeps, and then once that week is over, she takes those members out and she puts the new ones in. So the week anytime before Friday, she would have had last week's post in there. Does that make sense?
It's in a group message like
In a
that?
group message.
Okay,
But they
so,
can see the whole.
I only have limited time. I only have limited time. Okay, so this is the message that goes to your group. And I tweaked it because I don't have a group yet. Okay, so I'm just teaching my team how to do it individually, all right? But once I see that they're doing 5, 6, 7 parties on a Friday, then I'm gonna teach them how to put them in a group message. But he will say, and this doesn't say it up here, he will say, "Good morning, everyone. You are my hosts for the week. I have put you in as a group to share my daily post with you." And then he goes on to say, "Your party begins today. Starting today, you will receive a daily message from me that includes a picture and wording." Okay? So continue on. This is what you send them. Hey, here's today's post. Make sure to post the picture and wording together in a group.
What does that say?
It says, "Hi, I'm stranded on a desert island." And then it says, "You're stranded on a desert island and you can only pick one dessert. What would it be?" So it's just an
Oh, that's
engaging
cute.
post.
Oh,
It's a
yeah,
silly,
yeah, yeah.
engaging post. Okay? Note for consultant. One thing I always encourage you to do the day of the online party is to begin either to send a video on Messenger to your host or send a voice clip individually. I am not a morning person, so I choose to do a voice clip. I call it my pump-up message. In the clip, I tell my host how excited I am that they are hosting with me and that we are in this together. So even though he's putting all of them in a group, he's still going to send a little bit of individual message via Facebook Messenger. Saturday morning, great news, your guests are joining left and right. Your guests need to know you're attending the party, so make sure you've joined the group if you're not already yourself, blah, blah, blah. Today's post, I'm so excited to be hosting a Pampered Chef party. This is where I had to put my own in. He didn't give us this. So I had to come up with my engaging post. So Friday and Saturday, I had to come up with my own engaging post for the party, and I had to come up with my post for my host to put in the party. Okay, so that's what you're getting here. You're not getting my engaging post.
Right.
From
Just the
SendShare.
skeleton.
You're getting the meat from the system. So this was not in his. So I don't know what he does to send the post to his team. I just made up my own. So here's Saturday. Sunday, here's the post. Good afternoon. I hope you're having a great day. Great job on reaching out to your friends. We have a great group that is formed. I'm sure that more will join throughout the week, blah, blah, blah. Here's their post for today. Woo, I'm so glad you all joined us. The Pampered Chef party starts today. This is what's on my wish list. Monday, good morning, blah, blah, blah. And this is one of my favorite, actually. This one got to, in my group, the group that's going on right now, they got up to like Q or R. But it's a really fun post. It takes them to the link, the online party link, not the online catalog link.
Yeah.
And they go in and they have to find a product that begins with A. The next person has to product.
Oh,
Cute, cute,
So it's teaching them how to
Yeah.
thumb through the catalog, but then it's also teaching them the products and stuff like that.
How many
So
engaging posts, Linda, do you post per day then, for the 2 days?
on Friday I do 4. I do one at 7, one at 12, one at 6, and
Just
one at 9.
one?
Just one.
Okay.
And then on Saturday, I do 2 at 7, 2 at 12, 2 at 6, and 2 at 9.
Okay.
So
And then I start Sunday with my 4. And I have done a generic party. I am not doing a theme. I've done a generic party where I can just repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. The only thing I'm changing out are the games. If it's the same group of people that I see have kind of joined that were from the last party, I'll change over some of the games. And then I'll put in obviously a couple of things here and there, but I'm keeping my skeleton of my SendShare party almost exactly the same.
Okay.
Okay, so this is essentially the skeleton of everything. Then I have a host booking challenge. Steven does this, I put it in. It's a host booking challenge. It's something that he sends to his host and he asks his host to do. How do you offer the business opportunity to your guest? Then there's some lingo in here and how to offer the business opportunity to your guest. This is all him right here. This is interacting with guests. This was me. I wanted to tell my consultants, send a thank you note after someone has ordered, and I put in the verbiage of what they can say. That's an individual note to them on Facebook Messenger, okay? Do you go live in your shows? This is his comment. What is your best advice that you would give someone that would like to advance their business to the next level? So this was essentially Sharon Zellen's panel questions and then his answers to them.
Okay.
And then I filled in all of the blanks, okay? So this was important. This is what he put up on the skeleton, and I just kind of brought it all together and put a bow on it. On what is your best practice for booking parties from parties? On to booking and online parties. This may be outside of your comfort zone, but I encourage you to do it. Look for your rockstar party guests and online parties. And then there's literally a picture of what he sent to one of his guests via Facebook Messenger, how he replied to them, how he corresponded with them, and then I typed out, see this big blue box right here? That's his rockstar party guest. I typed it out here so that all I have to do is copy and paste. Okay?
Nice.
All right, last thing that I want to share with you, how do you share this with your teams? All right, I don't know if you guys know this, but there is a place in your team called units. Anybody know how to use units?
Is that only on the computer when you get there from your phone? You probably
You
have
can't-
to
you
see it
can't.
from your computer. You can change
All right,
your group
I gotta
settings.
show you how to change your group settings though. The first thing that you have to do is you have to go to more. You might want to write down these steps.
And you can
Now
only
you
do it
can
on
show you.
And you can only do it on a computer.
You can change the group settings on your
Yeah.
phone, but then the units will show up on your phone.
Oh, it shows up on mine.
I think after, it takes some time to like.
Okay, so you go to more. You choose edit group settings. When you get to edit group settings, where it says group type, what does yours say?
Mine used to say support.
Support. You want to choose where it says social learning. When you choose social learning, you need to choose the landing tab. You want your landing tab on your group to still be your discussion landing tab. You don't want your landing tab when someone goes into McGuire Movers and Shakers to come right to the units. You want them to be able to click on the units to get to the training. Okay, so that's why this little dot right here says discussion. Facebook sets the order of posts in this tab, okay, not the units tab. So now when I go to units,
Make sure you hit save at the end of that.
oh, mine's already saved.
I know, but
Oh, hit save. Okay, so here's my units section. So what you'll notice is I have unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, unit 4, unit 5, unit 6. All these are training units. I start with new consultants setting up a successful business. So last night when we were chatting in our group discussion, I said I have a video in there of what I want my new consultant to watch first thing. And I tag them, watch this first. I'll say, hey Sarah, watch this today. So now she's been tagged in a unit, she knows how to get there, and she can watch the very first welcome video, okay? As I have built my units, and this is a process, as I have built my units, I have built a units for virtual parties. And in that unit section of virtual parties, I have put in my step-by-step multi-day party setups right here, okay? And then I have a unit for Scent Share. So here is my Scent Share link to go and download all of my Scent Share posts. And here is the video of how to understand Scent Share. The reason why I do units is because I don't want to set up yet another group for training. Utilize the services that that group has.
And you know what?
Anyone in your group can go to that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, the other thing about that, Linda, is that you're not You don't have to search for it. You
No.
just go to units and it's right there. It doesn't move around in your group. It stays,
Exactly.
And then
you know, it
you've
stays.
done, the recordings are, you recorded yourself on a Zoom. call.
Yes, so here's my, you don't have to watch it.
Oh,
You
what?
watch it. No.
I'll get them all from her.
Thank you, Tiffany. And you share them with us in your secret little.
Social learning.
Tiffany,
Yes.
Marna.
There is no way, though, to put it directly in units. It has to go into the group discussion.
It will go in, it will drop in the discussion first,
Yes.
but then it will end up way, way, way
Like,
down.
so I have, posts that are old, and you can just, once you add units, when you right click on it, the three little buttons on the side, it will drop down, the last thing is units, and then it lists the units. You can drop old posts.
Yeah, into a
in there.
unit.
But
You don't have to
but
recreate
But
that.
the post always has to go into the discussion first. You can't just-
You can start it in the
You can
unit.
put it right into
So
units.
I don't have to clutter my feed with it.
But it
No.
will, no,
It will
drop
show
in the
that
feed.
at first. Yeah.
show that you created
I wanna
it.
hear, I wanna hear what you have to say.
Well, no, this is long, you don't wanna hear this, but.
This is pretty exciting. I am going to be recording an entire walkthrough of, you have now set up your very first virtual party.
So,
So that's what I do.
are you doing the thing where they're completing the units? Do you care
If
to
I come,
know about their progress or no?
yes, I do care, but in all reality, that system is not set up yet.
Okay.
The skeleton of the system is set up.
So,
I don't have a way yet to follow how much it's just not up here yet.
I know, enough.
Everybody can still see that though?
Yes,
They're just not getting the conversation in your private chat.
they're not. Everybody else that's not in the 23 rock stars,
They're still seeing.
they're still seeing it. They're just not engaged. And that was their choice.
Where is this again, so I can see it when I'm driving?
It will be in the group,
At some point,
because you have this. I shared it with our masterminds group. Yeah.
Are you or Stephen on direct shift?
I'm on direct ship, he is not.
Okay, so how do you handle that?
I love it.
Yeah.
With prizes, with prizes.
I get one prize and I send it in the mail.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Okay,
But I mean, how do you get your verbiage to the guests?
Oh, you're earning raffle tickets for a grand prize at the end of the party.
And I just say participation prize.
No, but I'm talking
No,
about
she said, how
placing
do you
the
let them know that
orders.
their order's going straight to them?
No,
and
I
all
don't want
the
them to
process?
order early in the week and then.
You can put it in the announcement.
Oh, it's in one of my posts. It says, here's a link to ordering if you already know what you want. If you want to hang out and watch the party, you're welcome. We'll have the link later on. And if you look at my send share post, I put the link a couple of times at the top and then you don't see that link again. It's
Shortcake, strawberry preserve filling.
So,
That's beautiful.
done.
Yes.
thank you.